Welcome to the PCOS Fertility Health Podcast, where you get actionable steps to help improve your fertility with PCOS. And today, your actionable step is learning about these key functional labs that help get you a comprehensive look at what is going on in your body. And this episode is going to be really important for you if you have had that situation where you go talk to your doctor about your fertility, you get some labs drawn, and they say, oh, everything looks fine. We don't know what's going on, and good luck. Because these kinds of comprehensive labs take it to the next level. They look at this wide variety of issues that are going on inside the body that can very well be affecting fertility, and what they're going to show for you and how then you can address that to open up fertility. So buckle your seatbelts because this is another exciting episode. And before we jump into it, I want to acknowledge you for showing up and being here, because you could be anywhere else right now. You could be listening to another podcast. You could be streaming a show. You could be online shopping right now. But no, you have decided to show up right here at the PCOS Fertility Health family and come join this community and listen to something that is going to help you improve your chances of getting pregnant. And I think that is so cool. And you are choosing to be here because you know that things in your body can change, and you are holding on to that hope. And I think that is so cool. So acknowledge yourself for being here as well. Hi, I am Dr. Angela Potter. I am your host here, and I'm the creator of the PCOS Fertility Protocol. I am a women's health functional medicine naturopathic doctor. I'm a primary care doctor here in Oregon, but I specialize in working with women who are struggling with PCOS and trying to get pregnant, and I work with women all over the country. And I am really excited to be here with you today to talk about these tests, because there's a good chance you're not aware of these and the powerful information that they can give you about your body. So we are talking about these comprehensive labs. And what does that even mean? Well, this comprehensive look into your fertility health picture it's a deep dive into your health, to look at these pillars of your health to understand what's missing. What is depleted? What imbalances are there? What needs to be replenished in order for you to have the best chance at getting pregnant? Because basic labs, like blood tests that you go in and get run for fertility, they give you some really good information. And if you haven't gotten those basic labs done, you'll want to go and get those done. So that's a very important foundation of fertility, but it's not the whole picture. And it's really important not to just stop there, because you can be missing on some really important pieces in your health if you're not taking this next step to look at what we're talking about today. So the basic fertility labs, looking at different hormone levels and a couple of lab markers that you want to just rule out other issues that aren't PCOS that might show up like PCOS. Those I talked about in a previous episode. I'm going to link that episode in the show notes so that you can hop over there and just listen to that one next, because you'll get a lot of value out of that, just learning about what are those basic blood tests to get done that you can be going to ask your doctor and make sure that you have those ones and those results so that you have that clear picture. But there's a lot of women out there who go in and talk to their doctors about their fertility struggles, and their doctor will just say, well, your labs look normal. There's nothing that we can do for you. Yes, we see that you have PCOS, but everything else on your lab work is normal, and so we don't know how to help you. Or they'll say, just go back on birth control and eat better. And that is dismissive fertility advice that puts the pressure on you, thinking, oh, it must be something wrong with me that I can't get pregnant. And so that leaves you feeling broken. It leaves you feeling fed up and like you're failing as a woman when it's not your fault. When it just needs to be another step looking deeper into what's going on in your body that's causing these fertility struggles. And these comprehensive tests, these functional tests, are going to be a very important step in looking at what your body is trying to tell you that it needs in order for fertility to open up. Because having regular periods, ovulating, that's a natural state that your body wants to get back into. It wants to be there. It's not like you're trying to move your body into this superhero position. No, you're just moving it back to where it wants to be. So these labs that we are going to talk about today, they are so important that I include them in my PCOS fertility transformation program. And so when you are working with me one-on-one through this program, these labs are included in that program. And I have done that because time and time again, over my years of seeing patients and helping women optimize their fertility, there are these missing links that need to get evaluated, need to get looked at. And it can be hard when we've been working together for 6 months and it's like, okay, we've done this work and we can't get you over to that next level. We need to take a step to look at these more functional labs. It's hard at that point to take that step to be like, okay, let's go back to the labs and let's just keep doing more investigation. So that's why I now include it first thing in my PCOS fertility transformation program. And this is step 2 in the PCOS fertility protocol, looking at these labs because this is vital information for your body. And you've heard me say this, but I will say it again, that you cannot get where you want to go if you do not know where you are starting from. And that is why clarity is such an important part of what I'm doing when I'm working with women who want to get pregnant. Because just knowing that you want to get pregnant is great, but you have got to get more information about where you're starting from in order to create that path, that fertility plan forward that's going to help you open up fertility the best with PCOS. So these functional labs are also really great because they are kits that are sent straight to your house. Okay, you don't have to go to a lab. You don't have to go get a needle poked into you. All right, these can be done through urine collection or saliva collection, and you're sent this really nice kit with tons of instructions. You complete your sample in whatever way it needs, and then you've got this prepaid envelope to put your sample in and send it right back to the lab. The lab analyzes and sends the results to me, and then you and I talk about what's come up with the results. In my PCOS fertility transformation program, we have a dedicated session to go over these results, talk about what that means for your fertility, and then create a plan for you so that you can optimize your body in these areas and move forward to where you want to be. So the first test that we're going to talk about is functional gut health testing. And gut health testing is really important because of the inflammation that can be coming from the gut that's contributing to infertility and fertility struggles. And more doctors are starting to talk about gut health and fertility, but it's not really common yet. It's hard to make that connection in your mind. Like, okay, well, I'm trying to get pregnant, but we're talking about my gut health and we're talking about what I eat during the day and how my body's digesting that. Like, how are these two interconnected? And that's what I love about the work that I do so much, is because I get to talk to people about how your body is one beautiful system, and it is just working together to create this amazing person that you are. And so you need to be looking at these other systems that don't, at first thought, seem connected to fertility, but they are, because your systems then create this cascade of events that affect hormones, that affect implantation, all of these things. So let's back up a minute. When it comes to gut health, we know that the inflammation happening in the gut, that's putting the immune system on high alert that there's inflammation happening. And when inflammation is in your gut, your digestive system, it's impacted on a daily basis because you are constantly eating during the day. Well, you might not be constantly eating, but you're eating a few meals a day. You're having some snacks, you're drinking some drinks, and that your gut is responding to the food that you're eating and the drinks that you're drinking. And so if there's some inflammation happening in the gut, each time you're eating, that inflammation gets inflamed. Okay? It gets a little bit worse because it needs to be on alert when this food comes in. So that is then setting the immune system that's flowing throughout your entire body up on this high alert. Well, talk about when you're trying to get pregnant and you have this inflammation in your body, your immune system is on high alert. That is then impacting implantation, because if the sperm and the egg connect and they're trying to implant, and your body is running around like those immune cells on high alert and says, oh my gosh, what is this? This is a foreign invader. We need to get it out of the body. And it just pushes that fertilized egg out of the body because it says, oh, we are soldiers here and we are trying to get stuff out of the body. And so that's why it's really important to take a step back to then calm that inflammation in the gut. Inflammation in the gut can also impact hormone levels. It can impact estrogen levels. It can impact blood sugar levels, all of which then can lead to ovulation not happening. So it's really important to take this step back. And again, this is key for you if you're listening and you're like, yeah, my doctor has told me everything's just fine. All my labs come back normal. But maybe you have lots of heartburn, or you have bloating that you need like a whole size jeans bigger by the end of the day. Those are big red flags that you have got some inflammation happening in your gut. And yes, the labs that you got done with your doctor have come back normal, but they aren't looking at the full picture of who you are as a person. So these functional gut health tests, they're really cool. The one in particular that I do gives you scoring in these different categories. So they are going to give you a score in maldigestion. How well are you digesting your food? Are you having a need for lowering inflammation in the gut? They're going to give you a score for your microbiome support. Do you have a good amount of healthy microbes in your body? It's going to give you a score for prebiotic support, which again has to do with your microbes. It's going to give you a score, do you need some antibacterial support? Are you struggling with some bad bacteria in your digestive system, and do you need some really focused antibacterial support for that? So that is the really cool information about your gut that you get. And again, this is not the kind of test to be going out and testing yourself to get the results back. You want to be working with somebody who is skilled in reading through the results of these tests and making a plan to move forward to get you to where your goals are. All right, you don't want to just be throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying these different herbs that you've heard that support gut health and things like that. Okay, now the other thing I want to talk about when it comes to gut health testing is that these do not test for food sensitivities. I don't use testing for food sensitivities because the gold standard for food sensitivities is doing an elimination diet. It is not testing. We know that there's lots of false positives, false negatives with food sensitivity tests. And so I don't do them because that is really hard if somebody gets a whole bunch of false positive testing saying all these different foods are sensitive for them. that's a big issue. So doing an elimination diet is the gold standard for figuring out if you have a food sensitivity. So that's not included in this testing. I don't test for food sensitivities, but we can do that in a different way. That's the elimination testing and an important part of the fertility picture. So the other functional fertility test that I run is a nutritional biomarker test. And this gives you some really great information about your nutrient status, and it will give you categories as well, different scores in these categories. And one is oxidative stress. So this test will give you a score. How much oxidative stress do you have in the body? And it will test this through different enzymes and through different nutrient levels that we know are involved with the antioxidant pathways. So high oxidative stress means you don't have enough antioxidants on board, and you're getting exposed to a lot of free radicals, and your body isn't able to fight back with the antioxidants. Now we know, research knows that antioxidants are really important to support eggs, right? Your eggs are sitting in your follicular fluid, and as they are developing, as they're trying to mature, to get ready to go and ovulate, they are really sensitive to these reactive oxygen species. And your antioxidants are there in that follicular fluid helping to fight off those ROS to support your eggs so that they can grow to be mature. So if you have a poor score for your oxidative stress in the body, that is contributing to poor egg quality. And you need to know that. You get a score for your mitochondrial support. Do you have enough of the nutrients and are your enzymes working properly that support your mitochondrial health? Now, this again is really important for quality. Did you know that your eggs hold the highest density of mitochondria in your entire body? It is fascinating. That's how much energy, because your mitochondria are your energy producers in your body. And that is how much energy your body needs to create these eggs so that they are of good quality to be able to go and ovulate. Because if your eggs are poor quality, they can't ovulate. And so we can test for your mitochondrial health. Do you have these nutrients? Are your enzyme systems working to support this high density of mitochondria in your eggs? Because if you don't, then you're going to have poor egg quality and you can't get your eggs out to ovulate. Do you see how important this is for your fertility and how much more information you can get about your body than just looking at basic blood tests? It's really cool. You'll get a score looking at the level of your omega-3 to omega-6 ratios. And your omega fatty acids are essential fatty acids that you have to get externally. They're not made inside your body. That's why they're called essential. And omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory. Omega-6 fatty acids, those are pro-inflammatory. And we want a certain ratio of those two to regulate inflammation in the body. And it's really classic for people to have a much higher ratio of omega-6 fatty acids to omega-3 than you want because of just the diets that we have, the foods that we're exposed to, and all of those. It's really common, and that's just raising inflammation in the body. Now, this nutritional profile will also look at your toxin exposure. It can test for a couple different toxins like mercury and lead levels. And it will look at some enzyme systems that help your body detox to see, okay, what is this detox load on the body? And if the body is dealing with a high level of toxins, then really what you see is the liver gets slowed down. That impacts estrogen and progesterone, blood sugar levels, ovulation, and it just creates this cascade that impacts your hormones for fertility. And so if your liver isn't working as it's supposed to, if it is preoccupied trying to get your body these extra toxins out of the body and it's not even working as it's supposed to be, then that can be raising your estrogen levels and contributing to poor egg quality and nothing that you want for fertility. So you get all of that really interesting, I find it fascinating, information about your body that then helps you get that extra layer of what is happening that is creating these fertility struggles. And then you know, okay, we can support my mitochondria more, or I really need to do a detox. And this is the path forward in order to then get your body back to that optimal fertility. And then the third test that I want to talk about is one that looks at the hormone metabolites. And it'll look at estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. You might be familiar with this test. It's known as the Dutch test. I really like running this because I want to highlight testosterone here. Now, if you get just a straight blood test of testosterone, that's a snapshot of what your testosterone levels are on that given day. I talk to a lot of women who say, yeah, my testosterone levels are fine, but I get all this acne, I get all this facial hair. And here's what's happening, is that testosterone, when you're looking at it through a blood test, you're just getting that snapshot of what your total testosterone levels are. But testosterone is then broken down into testosterone metabolites through two different pathways. One pathway, the alpha pathway, is way more potent than the other pathway. The beta pathway is a little more mild. So sometimes for women who have regular testosterone levels, they could be really pushing those alpha pathways. And that is what's creating the acne, the hair growth, and ovulation issues. And you still want to address that. You still want to be moving your testosterone into the beta pathway. And that's why looking at these hormone metabolites is incredibly helpful. This test also looks at your cortisol levels. So this is really important to understand stress levels throughout the day and how those are impacting blood sugar levels and ovulation and impacting your reproductive hormones. So you get all that information to be able to understand, okay, what is it in my body that's keeping me from getting pregnant? So do you see how if you are working with a doctor who says, hey, everything is fine on your lab tests, we don't know what to do for you, do you see how that is such a misnomer? How there is so much information out there about your body that you can get that can tell you what is happening with your fertility struggles, what is keeping you from having that baby that you want so bad? There is hope for you. And it's all about starting with this piece of clarity to understand what is really going on in your body that's keeping you from having regular periods and ovulation from happening and keeping you from getting pregnant. So if you are interested in getting these tests run, in learning more about how the PCOS Fertility Transformation Program can help you to open up regular periods and ovulation and the best chance at getting pregnant, then your next step is to sign up for a free PCOS Fertility Breakthrough Session. This is where you and I are going to talk about your specific situation, what's been happening so far, what have you heard from other doctors, what other fertility medications have you been on, what has your journey looked like, and then we're going to identify what's been missing and what needs to happen for your fertility to open up. And I will share with you about what these labs can look like and if they are the key to understanding that next level of what you need to know in order for your body to open up the best chance of getting pregnant. So I will pop that link below. You can head to my website, drangelapotter.com/PCOS, and it's a super simple process to get signed up for one of those right on my calendar. As we finish up here this week, I want to remind you that this podcast is for informational purposes only, so it shouldn't replace the information that you are getting from your medical provider. But if you are not getting the fertility information that you are looking for, then you are welcome to reach out, and I have those PCOS fertility breakthrough sessions available, and I am more than happy to talk with you. And if nobody has told you this today, I want to be the one to tell you that I believe in you, and I believe in your ability to have the best chance at getting pregnant with PCOS. Mwah. I'll see you next week.